Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm so happy that you're here. My name is Troy. I am an Army wife, an Army veteran, and a stay-at-home mother of 3. In today's video, what I am going to be going over is, in my opinion, the pros and cons of being stationed here at Fort Bliss, which is located in the city of El Paso. So, I have lived here for almost a year now, not a whole year. I'm like a couple of months short of it, but I feel like in probably about 9 months time that you can get a really good feel of a place. I get a little bit frustrated when I look for these videos and someone's like, oh, I've been here for 90 days and I don't like it, or I've been here for a month and I love it. And I'm just thinking to myself, have you even been out your house? I can't unpack in less than, 60 days. I can't set everything up. I don't know. It just takes me that amount of time. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe if I was younger, I would have, be moving and shaking like that. But I just want you guys to know that I have lived here for quite some time, in my opinion, and I've got a really good feel of the city, and I just want to give you the pros and the cons. So getting started, if you ever watch any of my pros and cons video of any base that I've ever been stationed at, I always start with the cons. I start with the negative because I like to end on a high note. Now, as I say in all of those other videos as well, a lot of just my opinion on things, I have a really positive outlook. I'm a positive person. I can find the silver lining in any situation, and I'm very resourceful. I can make things work for me. But everyone's not like that. So I don't want to only just, give you sunshine and rainbows. I do want to give you a realistic account of the place, and I will give you some cons of things that a lot of people in general may not care for, and maybe 1 or 2 things that I don't care for. So let's get started. The first con that I hear a lot of people talk about, which is the weather, that it's hot. I don't in my opinion, when you get stationed somewhere, like, no one is God. We can't control the weather. I don't really think that's a reason to dislike a base, is because of the weather. The South is hot. The North is colder. Just little things like that. It's just like, that really made the list. But I guess some people are very particular about the environment as far as outside, the climate that they live in, and it may affect their quality of life. But it's hot. A lot of people say that's a con. For me and my family, we enjoy, the warmer weather. We can bear the cold, but we prefer not to. So this weather is not bad for us at all. We don't mind the hot summers, and we don't mind in the winters, they're not very chilly. The nights are, and it's quite windy here sometimes, but we don't mind that. We don't mind that at all. The second con that a lot of people talk about is the small amount of nightlife. Now, I'm not a person to really give you a detailed opinion on that, because I don't do nightlife. Like, I've been married for 13 years. Me and my husband, we do our little date nights, but like as far as like the bars and the clubs and things of that nature, we haven't done that in years. That's just not our thing. So I can't really tell you what is or what isn't there. But I have known that a lot of spouses have said there's not a lot of nightlife. A lot of young soldiers believe that it's kind of boring because it lacks in that area. Not to say that there aren't any bars around, but you probably have to really, really look for them. And if you're accustomed to be in a more metropolitan or more city type of area, then, there's just not that many, and for you to go through and choose from and things of that nature. So the next con that I want to say is that a lot of people, and this is another thing that makes me kind of roll my eyes, is that people talk about the lack of diversity here. And when people say a lack of, I guess there is a lack of diversity, but as I said, I feel like if you lived in the USA your entire life, I'm most likely talking to an American citizen, you're a spouse or you're a soldier, you are quite aware that, there are areas that are more concentrated with, certain demographics. Like, that's just normal. You know, like you can't be down here by the border and be like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of Hispanics, or you go to Atlanta and be like, oh my gosh, there's a ton of black folks. Like that's just how it is. A lot of people, you know, of the same culture congregate in one area. That's just life. So like it's not a shock to my system. Like I'm coming to Texas, come on. For me, I have not had not one negative experience. It doesn't really bother me as a military individual. I'm an ex-soldier, you know, I'm a veteran, and as you know, a military wife, I'm accustomed. I've lived in different countries, you know, where I was, as an American, I didn't even speak the language. You know, I've been stationed in Germany for 2 years, you know, so I'm quite accustomed to, you know, being a minority where I go. So it doesn't really bother me. You know, it lasts for a couple of years, you know, as far as a duty station, and then you leave. And, you know, I've never been a place where I felt unwelcome or uncomfortable, and El Paso is definitely not that place. It's very family oriented. You know, people here are super down to earth. I absolutely love it. The next con I don't know. As I said, I'm a positive person, but another con, if you're just looking on paper, is the education. Just as far as the grade of schools. Now, if you compare this area, El Paso, to, just for an example, where I'm from the Tidewater area in Virginia, the Tidewater scores are much, much higher as far as the school and the education system is concerned. That doesn't mean there aren't any good schools here. There are plenty of good schools here, but just in general, just putting all the schools together and grading them as far as the county and the city is concerned, they are not average as far as the country is concerned. They are not average. They are below average. Now, speaking to that, as I said, I'm a pretty positive person. I believe it's parents' job to supplement their child's education in all areas. My oldest child is not in high school yet, so I can do algebra, I can do geometry. If there's anything that she is struggling in or that she needs help with, or even my younger children, I know how to read, I can help them read. I know ABCs, I can help them. So for me, I feel like wherever the public education is not functioning at the level that you want it to, then you supplement it as a parent. That's just my opinion. That's how I grew up. I had 2 working parents, and education was extremely important to them. My father worked, 10-hour days. He would come home and still do homework with me and still give me tests. So I know it's possible for parents to do this, but I do know some people find it quite frustrating. So the next con that is a con for me, as I said, I'm a pretty positive person, but it is a con for me, that people drive like they have diarrhea here. Like you would think they have got to go to the bathroom. Like, I guess it's just these big open roads just make people want to go fast, but man, they drive so fast here. Like I am not a grandma driver just in general. If the speed limit is 60, I don't mind doing 65. You're not going to catch me doing 10 over though, like not at all. But people here, they be like, I'm doing 20 over. I got somewhere to go. It's insane how fast people drive here. I always stick to the right lane because I'm just like, I'm not dying today. So, but to me, that is a con. It's just something I was so shocked when I got here. I'm like, I know that speed limit sign just says 65. Somebody beside me whooping by doing 80. But that would be my only con as far as I see in El Paso. Another con that I've heard from some spouses and things of that nature I would like to address, and soldiers as well, is the amount of time that a lot of soldiers here spend in the field. In general, I know that it's a training base. So yes, if you've never been at a training base, then it'll probably be a shock to your system how often your spouse will be in the field. For my family, it doesn't significantly affect our home life, my husband being gone in the field, the amount of time that he is, or even the increase. I think maybe because I'm a veteran that these soldiering things don't particularly rub me the wrong way. They don't bother me because I expect them. I've been through them. I understand them. So it doesn't really put a strain on our family dynamic or my marriage at all. If me and my husband can talk to each other every single day, then we'll be pretty zen. As long as there's communication open, pretty codependent. We can't really go a day or so without talking to each other, but I do understand why he's in the field. I don't resent it at all, but that is a con, and that is a truth here at Fort Bliss, that your spouse most likely will be in the field more often than they have at another post. There are, some other, bases around the states that are training posts as well. And then, your soldier is in the field a lot. But if you aren't at one, or you haven't been at one, if you're coming to Fort Bliss, that might really be something you have to get used to. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the pros. It's no secret, I love El Paso. We just bought a home here. Even if my husband's career continues and we go everywhere else in the US, I definitely want us to retire here and come back for sure. So my first thing on the pro list is the cost of living. That was something we fell in love with. My family is very traditional. I stay at home with the kids, my husband works, and we wanted to live in a place that would allow that would allow us to continue, to put that value first in our home. And living here definitely allows us to do that. The second pro that I have on the list is that there are outdoor activities. Now, if you don't like to be hot, you don't want to sweat, then this is not the place for you to do outdoor activities. But they do have hiking. They have lots of bike trails through the Franklin Mountains. You can get outdoors and do a ton of things because it's so warm all the time. So there are outdoor activities. Now, as far as, swimming, that's not something you're going to be able to do. We're in a desert. They do have pools and things of that nature. And they also have a man-made lake, probably about, I'd say for about a 2-hour drive from here. They also have white sands that's in a neighboring state. So there are sites that you can see, and there are outdoor activities that you can definitely do. So another pro that I have, for me, as I said, these are my personal opinions. I guess it just depends on what you like. El Paso is called the biggest small town you'll ever live in. And the reason they call it that is because it's a very family-orientated place, and it's small towns that most people here that are born here, they stay. They go to college here, and then they find jobs here. So it's kind of like a small town feel, because there's people that there's not a ton of turnover. Of course, Fort Bliss being here, the soldiers come and go, but people have been here for generations, and families stay. And even though it's a huge amount of space, the city is very large as far as, geographically the space is concerned, but it had the small town feel because of, the family vibe, and that people decide to stay here, through generations. So another pro that that is here is, in my opinion, as I said, I'm trying to, come up with things that aren't just about what I like, is the West Side. Now, in the West Side, there's the college. So it has a hipster feel. I know that's a really kind of slang term, but it is kind of new, and it's developing, and it is targeted at younger people. And I think it's really good that, the city can have that balance where its younger community can have things and places that it likes to see and go and spend their time, and also a lot of family orientated places as well. Another pro is how safe it is. Now, in most large towns, the more people or the more condensed it is, you get a lot of crime. Here in El Paso, not so much. I think because of, the military base, Border Patrol, as well as having some other, law enforcement agencies centered here, that you don't have a lot of crime. Coming from, different places, just like even watching the news, there are certain things that make the news here. There was a crime not too long ago where someone, it's not good. I'm not laughing because it's good, but someone defaced property. Like, they just defaced property. That makes the news here. Where I'm from, where I grew up in Virginia, not that it's an unsafe place, but something that simple, something that petty would not make the news, because there were larger, more, heinous crimes going on. So here it's a pretty safe city to be so large and have this certain amount of number of people. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you were able to get something out of it if you were on your way here to Fort Bliss, or if you have children coming here and you just wanted to know about the town and how things were. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them down in the comments, and I will answer them as soon as I can. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.